David Barr, Muscle Fitness, and the CA 2009 here at Keiser with President Dennis Keiser. And Dennis, why do people love your equipment? What teams, what kind of organizations have Keiser equipment?
Just about half of the professional teams in the U.S. Have already purchased our equipment. Certainly half of the NFL, half of the NBA, Major League Baseball, and over half of the National Hockey League have purchases. In Europe, rugby teams are very big on Keiser, as well as European football or soccer.
Perfect. Let's take a look at Keiser equipment and see why so many people love it.
The unique feature of Keiser equipment is that it's all pneumatic or air controlled. This means that there are no weights or plates involved. You simply adjust the resistance by pressing buttons on the machine. The real advantage with air resistance is that there's no gravity and subsequently no momentum to worry about. This means that you can and should push as hard and as fast as possible, which leads to optimum power development. After all, there are two key components to any movement: the force that we produce and the speed at which we produce it. With this in mind, Keiser equipment allows you to train whatever resistance you want at whatever speed you're after. This is simply not possible with traditional weights. Here I'm using a modified leg extension machine that has one leg pad attached to pneumatic resistance and the other to a traditional weight stack. Attached to the pads are force transducers that show how much force is being produced throughout the entire range of the movement. You're looking at the display with the blue line showing the leg extension with the Keiser air resistance. This line is relatively flat, which means that the force exerted is consistent throughout the rep. The red line represents the leg extension with the standard weight stack and is quite variable, even at relatively low speed, as Dennis is showing us here. Take a look at the forces when the rep speed is increased on the weight stack. It's all over the place, even though this speed is submaximal. For a comparison, here are both legs going at the same time. Once again, the Keiser resistance is flat and consistent, while the weight stack is quite variable. Here's a better look at the graph we're talking about. Looking at the stack in red, you can clearly see that all of the force generation occurs at the beginning and then momentum takes over. This means that the forceful start, known as shock loading, takes away any real resistance from the rest of the range of motion. And it should go without saying that for optimum performance, you want resistance throughout the full range of motion. This is exactly what you see with air resistance shown in blue. Perhaps more importantly, for optimum power development, you want to move the resistance as quickly as possible, and as we've seen, it is for this that Keiser equipment excels. Now, let's take a very quick look at one more reason why so many professional teams use Keiser: the real-time biofeedback.
And what you've got is your maximum effort right now is 387 watts. You're working at 123 pounds. You've done 10 repetitions, and the last rep was 100% of your maximum, which meant the last rep was your maximum. Okay, now go ahead and do the next one. You just bettered that, so you now have 416 watts. What will ultimately happen is you will start to drop due to fatigue. You'll drop in your power, and once you drop to a point where you have done 2 consecutive reps below 90%. Now once below 90%, that's easy. Now you back up. What happens is the mind just lost focus for a second. Now you're back again. Okay, if you do 2 consecutive reps below 90%, you're done.
Why is that?
Because we want the brain to remember the last fast efforts. We don't want the brain will remember what you did last. And we don't want you to go down to that very slow last repetition that we do with strength. We want it to remember this faster speed because we're developing power.
Train fast to get fast.
It's a long way.